Hello, hello, my friends, and welcome back to live coverage of GP Barcelona. My name's Riley, and it's my great pleasure to welcome to the booth once again beside me, Matej Zalako. Matej, so good to have your company as we get into round number 8, my friend.
Yeah, it's 2-7-0 decks. Look at that. Timur Tower.
Timur Tower. We haven't seen a lot of that this weekend, but it's time to get amongst it with the blue-green-red deck that has, it's been around.
Yeah,
it's been around.
It has this breakout tournament 2 weeks ago in Utrecht. A lot of pros playing it. Didn't do too well. No top 8. A couple of people in the top 16 and thereabouts. So definitely showing it can fight. But it does have some problems, Scrappy Scoundrel being one of them, and that's why they played the Shielded Ether Thief.
Shielded Ether Thief, yeah, we've seen this card, as a one-of, maybe a two-of here and there, and maybe it's going to be up more and more, because I tell you what, it does it at all. It slices, it dices, it's like the slap chop. It just does absolutely everything. Speaking of doing absolutely everything, look at this, curving out very nicely. Rogue Refiner drawing a card as well. I love this card, all about it, already expressed that. Happy to do it again.
Yeah, of course, and it's actually pretty funny. When I talked to a lot of the pros that played the Timur Tower deck 2 weeks ago, they were like, Rogue Refiner is the worst card in my deck.
Yeah.
Because they're like, sure, it gives you creatures to trade, it gives you energy, draws you. It looks on the surface like it does everything, but in this deck, you want to charge up your Dynavolt towers as much as you can, and sometimes Rogue Refiner is just yet another target for unlicensed disintegration.
Now listen,
speaking of which.
Oh, there it is, and indeed, away goes the Shielded Ether Thief, so you can see that Juan Carlos Abedio Diaz, he's not mucking around, he needs that Ether Thief out the way. But I've actually got a hot inside tip about a piece of technology that's going around in these Timo decks, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But we see here this Mardu deck, it really has been at the pinnacle of Standard for quite a number of weeks now, and what do you think about the Timur Tower deck? Is it set up to beat Mardu? Because that's what you've got to be. A new deck in Standard, you've got to be able to beat Mardu.
I mean, I think it's very hard when you're on the draw in game 1, and it also largely depends on the number of Scrappy Scroungers they get to draw. So, not ideal. I mean, it's still definitely a viable deck and so on. But I wonder if Carlos Morel brought some more tech, some sweet cards to bring into the main deck, because we've seen like one card that I really like that they played in the main deck as a one-off. Some of them was Natural Obsolescence, and it's exactly the card you need because it fights against the Scrappy Scroungers. And one of the biggest problematic cards that we saw was Verger's Gearhulk as well from the black-green decks, and also pretty good in mirror match. So it was a card that I thought they either should be playing more of or just have more of in the sideboard.
Another interesting piece of technology that's been floating around, perhaps more in the Marvel decks than the Timur Tower decks, is actually Baral's Expertise.
Ooh.
And maybe I shouldn't be blowing the lid off this because all my mates from Berlin are actually playing this, so I'm sorry to those boys there. I'm sort of blowing this one wide open like Hamish Blake, but at this stage, I think it's worth noting that this card is just huge. It gives a huge tempo boost if that's what you need. It can reset the board against, of course, green-black, which we see, again, sort of falling out of favour. But it's great against in many situations. And the worst case is you're scooping up, your Rogue Refiners, your Whirl of Virtuosos, and then bumping them back down.
Sure. Another unlicensed integration on a Shielded Ether Thief. Juan Carlos just really wants to get this in with a Scrounger there. Carlos Morales down to 8 already.
Yeah, this is a really aggressive posture here that Diaz has adopted, and Morale needs a bit of breathing room to get stuff going with his deck, and he hasn't done that so far, Matej.
Yeah. Rather than maybe playing some of the Rogue Refiners and things, like maybe these sorts of decks should be playing more Ether Meltdowns. I know that's a card that Raph Levier likes a lot, and I think it's exactly what you need just to not die, because it does generate energy, and it does prevent the creatures from doing something for several turns, where sometimes you have a problem to answer these things in perpetuity. And
critically, what I think really is the most important thing about the card is it is a cheap and clean answer to the Heart of Kiran.
Yeah,
because this, there are so few answers in these colours. I mean, you can't rely on a Harness Lightning. You've got to play a card like Natural Obsolescence. So you're absolutely right. Ether Meltdown can be a really, really useful piece of technology against the Mardu decks.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a little weak against the 4-color copycat decks.
Yeah.
Because ultimately it just doesn't do that much. It's just an energy generator. And, you probably slap it on like a Servant of the Conduit or a Whirl of Virtuoso, which is not ideal.
No, exactly right. So there is the Ether Meltdown, courtesy of the Hall of Famer Raphael Levy. He's over there with a big smile on his face, tapping away at the keyboard, loving all this sort of stuff. As I've already mentioned, I'll say it again. I'll say it 100 times, Matej. Well supported here in the booth by a fantastic team of other coverage stuff. Rashad Miller behind the producer's computer there. Rich Hagen, Stephen Leeming in the feature material. Toby Henk typing it all out. And, of course, you and me, doing the hard work.
Yeah, I mean, it's always an honor to be in the booth with you. Always lots of fun.
Thanks, mate. I wouldn't go that far. It's certainly certainly making me go a bit of a blush at the moment on my rosy cheeks at the moment.
Right.
But no, of course, outpaced at every stage here.
And
as we
go.
Head into Morale's next turn. Now, as you've mentioned, he's got to keep his head above water here. He's on 8. He's facing down some pressure, walking ballista coming down. He's another rogue refiner. This card does it all. It slices and dices, my goodness me. But this particular slap chop isn't doing a huge amount on this board.
Yeah, it's pretty weak on this board. That's right. The problem is with Carlos, he hasn't been able to stick any of those better blockers. He's
still got these onions that just haven't been cut up yet. He still needs to cut up these onions.
Yeah. Wait. Let me do it. It slices, it dices, it does everything.
It does everything. Absolutely. Right? Very good, mate.
Thank you. I try. I learned from the best.
I'm going to be out of a job here. Juan Carlos Alberto Diaz, though, now. Back to him. He's got 4 mana. He's got a battlefield. He's got a presence on the battlefield here. And he's got a pained expression on his face as he considers how to get through this particular combat step. Thinking about the attack here with the Scrap Heap Scroungerino. A couple of cards in his grip here. You can see him rather loosely attired in a grey T-shirt there. And I'll tell you this, he's dressed appropriately for the weather here in Spain. Absolutely stunning. Yeah. Absolutely stunning it was. Stepped off the plane from Frankfurt this morning, and I tell you what, mate, I felt like a bit of a cloth-eared fool for arriving in a thick woolen jumper, because it is absolutely gorgeous here in Spain. So very lucky to be able to travel to these events in the far-flung exotic extremes of the continent. I'm sure all the players here tonight will be enjoying a nice warm, mild March evening here in Madrid. Or in Barcelona. Jeez, don't know whether I'm coming or going here.
Just
down
Spain.
Comes it's just Spain. Yeah. It's all Spain.
The same.
It's all Spain, isn't it?
All right. So
down comes Gideon. Going to generate an allied token here.
Did you see what Carlos drew?
Didn't get.
I'll give you a hint. It slices and it dices.
Is that another slap chop? Oh no! 3 mana here. I think this is this all 4?
It's all 4, yeah.
It's all 4. There we go.
Oh, he starts with the tower.
Here's the tower. Boo. It doesn't slice and dice. it crackles on words, this one. Carlos Morale also, you can see it, his face isn't giving too much away, but he doesn't seem to be particularly happy with his position in this game here. Gideon's a pretty important barrier for these decks to overcome here, and the Timo deck has to have a pretty immediate answer to it. We're going to see the Dynavolt Tower immediately shoot this Knight token to pressure Gideon.
Okay, and now Juan Carlos has to decide if he wants to block and protect his Gideon further, or if maybe the Gideon can take the 3 damage, go down 1, which is also a fine plan. But the tower is going to keep pinging. 6 energy is a good energy reserve to have. Yeah,
that's right. It looks like Morales is well set up to support this tower, the tower play that he's had, especially, of course, with all in the back of all of those rogue refiners. We have been having a giggle at them, but they are part of the game plan, and they do generate energy and keep that velocity going, keep the cards flowing. Yeah. So Diaz now with an important decision to make.
This block kind of depends on what he has in his hand, and we didn't quite get to see that. You know, if I had like a replacement Gideon, that would change my decision as well, or if I had more creatures to trade.
Looks like we are going to see the block here. 1 damage upstairs. That ballista shoots one of its bolts into Morale's face, and there it is once again, ladies and gentlemen. That's the last you'll be seeing of that for the time being. All 4 rogue refiners, either in play or in the battlefield. In play or in the graveyard, I should say.
Oh, look at that. Juan Carlos has an Avacyn in hand, but it doesn't have a 5th mana yet, and that's a great card in this matchup as well. It's Avacyn, one of the cards that was a pretty big stand at 2 weeks already. And now players have been adding more and more of those because they're really good against the Planeswalker plan.
Yeah, and we saw her ruling the skies in previous weeks and months in Standard here, but as you can see, Juan Carlos Alberto Diaz only with 4 lands in play, rather perplexingly arranged in a vertical configuration. He does have another 5th land, and that one's going off to the side, twist ending here.
Yeah, Shambling Van tapped, so no Avacyn.
No, we won't be seeing the Archangel come down this turn at least. Morale needs to turn the corner on this game, Matej. He needs to turn the corner. He needs to kick this Dynavolt tower up into top gear.
And that was the first stage. Like this deck can get going with the first tower and really starts going off with the second one. Once every instant you have generates at least 4 extra energy, you can just keep going, and that suddenly generates a game plan. And of course, I wonder. I'm gonna have a quick look at some of the deck lists that we've seen, because one thing that I was missing in Teamer Tower decks from 2 weeks ago was they only ran 3 Torrential Gearhulks, and it just always seemed like a mistake to me.
Yeah, the list that I was tinkering with on Magic Online recently, I mean, not particularly expertly, I might add, but was playing the 4th in the board.
Okay.
I snagged that one off MTG Goldfish and just sort of went ham with that. And I didn't really understand it, because I always kind of wanted to bring it in. I mean, unless you're playing the really, really aggressive decks. But I don't. The three seem to be an odd number to me.
Yeah, and I quite like the look of the list, as we see Thalia. He's only running 3 Torrential Gearhulks. However, he has Pulse of Murasa in the main deck.
Hello.
So he can return.
Hello.
He can return a Torrential Gearhulk or a tower.
Gain that life as well.
Probably, yeah, and gain that life.
Right, I'm into that.
And he also has Bristling Hydra in the main deck, which is not a card we've seen often.
We've discussed it, however. I mean, a very, very resilient threat against point removal.
And pretty good at attacking Planeswalkers, which is another thing that this deck struggles with sometimes. So,
Attune with Aether is going to... oh, look at that. 4 energy just like that. Whoa.
Slow down,
says
buddy.
Ideas. Let's just back it up here.
Okay.
Let's just back it down, flip it, and reverse it before we start resolving our triggers all over the place. Jeez. All right, he fetches out an island. I think Morale's well and truly aware that he's going to end up with the 12 energy in his reserve. But I think, it's a great point to note that Alberto Diaz, certainly a good idea to just slow the game down to a pace that you're playing at. And something that I know is certainly a step for me when I sort of started to get more involved in competitive Magic, was not letting your opponent dictate the pace of play. If you want to play at your pace, if you don't want to be rushed and pushed through it, obviously you've got to maintain a reasonable pace. But it's fine to tell your opponent to just whoa. Well, there, Buckaroo. Let's just slow that horse down there, and let's just go through it step by step. You don't want someone to trample all over you, so it's important to make sure that you're getting your voice heard.
Yeah, it's really hard sometimes, though, if you play against someone like Shota Yasuoka or Shui Nakamura. They play so blazingly fast. You really feel, you have to keep up in a way.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to keep your pace, but you're exactly right. It's one of the biggest things you learn when you're trying to get to the next level of Magic, that you really have to play at your own pace.
So even though this Harness Lightning is going to eat up that Thalia, crackle, and away she goes, it's actually going to net Morale a positive energy gain here because of the Dynavolt Tower. Morale is really wrestling with this dice here. A whole lot of this is World Wrestling Federation Dice Edition here, as Morale rattles and gets it going here. He cannot find the side of that D6 that he wants. He finally gets there. Jeez, what a battle that was.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Harness Lightning number 2. Are we going to see a repeat performance of Morale versus the die?
Yeah. More dice needed. All right.
Once again, look at that. Deft finger work here.
666.
6662.
Ooh, 2.
There we go. All right. Let's get rid of that Gideon as well. And looks like Morale has taken my advice and has begun to turn the corner on this game. He has lightning bolts on the stick. He's got them on demand. And Alberto Diaz with 2 cards in hand. He's going to have to find something very special here.
Yeah, he only found an Ether Hub for now. Yeah, a bit boring, but yeah. Oh, but still, he can now deploy the Avacyn. Remember, Carlos Morale is only down to 7. It's not a big life total, and especially after having expended 2 Harness Lightning, that Avacyn, I think, has a good chance of surviving.
Morale does have, I think it's 3 cards in hand. One of them is an Anticipate. What are your thoughts on Anticipate? This seems to be the best that we're getting these days when it comes to blue selection.
I'm not happy with Anticipate.
No.
It's been quite underwhelming whenever I've seen it, and kind of sometimes you keep those 2 land Anticipate hands and you just never see a land. And that's highly demoralizing. Sometimes, you whiff on the first one, you have to play the second one main phase just to play your land, and then your opponent just gets to trample all over you.
It's crazy to me the huge difference between a card like Impulse, which is a cube playable card in certain from a certain viewpoint, and then a card like Anticipate. Just that difference that extra card makes, Matei. It's night and day. If Anticipate looked at 4 cards, whoo.
Oh, well, that would be called Impulse.
Now you got a stew. Yeah, now you got a stew going, and that's what I'm saying. Impulse as an eternal well, not an eternal playable, but like a cube card, essentially. The
Sure.
power level's so high on that.
Oh, look at that. He's already lightning bolting
Yeah,
face.
just get you upstairs straight away. Cop this one, he says. Smoke you straight on that moustache.
Ooh.
There's Impulse. Look at that.
Ref Levy on point.
On point, there it is.
Yeah. I remember when this card was
man.
originally
Are
printed.
you going to tell me the exact
the
same story?
story?
I was about to say? It's
Okay.
so good. No, you do it. You
No,
do it.
I-
You do
I'll
it. You
skip
do
on
it.
the
No, you
story,
do it.
yeah.
You do it. You do
You
it.
already said it.
I didn't say it. I want to hear the story.
No, it's not.
Impulse.
But wait, let me just say it.
Okay, tell the story about
No, it's not a
Impulse.
story.
Income the Rogue Refiners.
Just look up the original wording on the Impulse.
Yeah,
and you'll understand.
You're in for a real treat, actually. You know what? Yeah, you know what? It's an independent journey the viewers can
Exactly,
go on
yeah.
themselves. Absolutely.
Gatherer.wizards.com.
Yeah.
Type in Impulse and look up
Impulse.
the
And
original one
just
from
enjoy.
Visions.
Just enjoy. See if you can spot it. It's very, very funny.
Yeah.
Scrap Heap Scrounger now for Roberto Diaz. He's going to bring back another one as well. These hungry boys are chomping away at the graveyard. And they've come back. But away goes another one of them straight away. Morale not mucking around. Down to 10 energy there.
I just imagine Carlos Morel, whenever he's using the tower, he's like, bzz,
Yep. Getcha.
face, bzz.
Bzz.
And I mean, he has also those walking lightning bolts in the Rogue Refiners, you know. You said they slice and dice, but it seems like more they'll just keep hitting for a lot of damage.
Yeah, they've stuck around here. They've managed to, be there where the dust has settled, and Roberto Diaz is in a world of trouble here. Having said that, important note once again, his opponent's on 7.
Yeah, and plus, remember, there's Lumbering Falls for Carlos Morel, so,
hiding away
he
in the
has
lands
2
there.
actually, so it's another chunk of 3 that can come in. Oh, look at that.
Just practicing your 3 times tables here, Carlos
Ooh.
Morel.
This is quite risky.
What do you think of this? Roberto Diaz hitting with the Scrounger.
Yeah.
Can hit Morale down to 4.
And I already see, Unlicensed Disintegration plus Walking Ballista or plus Shock. These sorts of combination can be really impactful here.
Okay, well, let's just back up a second because that is an unlicensed disintegration in his hand.
Okay.
Is that a Walking Ballista? Is that a Walking Ballista sandwich there between the Avacyn Archangel, and the unlicensed disintegration? Is it a Ballista sandwich? Are we going to see Diaz here?
All right, so he's going to kick it off with
Take it home.
a Ballista first.
I think it is a Ballista.
I think it is a Ballista too. That's why he's so deep in a tank.
Could be a Scrounger. They're
Nice.
so similar, the art.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see what we can get here.
Come on, Juan Carlos. I think his name is actually misspelled. I think it's Adebo Diaz, but
It is the Walking Ballista. Walking Ballista for 1 here.
okay.
So as it stands, Morale is actually slain. Assuming that, with the contents of his hand, he may have something to say about that. Looks like we're going to anticipate in response. Trigger the tower. Up to 12 energy now.
Anticipate in response. And now, Juan Carlos thinking, should I fire it off right away? Because we know that Carlos can probably win if he gets to his turn. He has
Yeah,
the
he's
2
got-
refiners,
he
the
can-
tower, the lumbering falls. I think he can.
He can really unload.
Yeah, look at that. He has was Torrential Gear Hulk and Anticipate still in his hand. I think he's digging for a disallow. Okay.
Okay, takes one of the cards from the Anticipate there. Torrential Gear Hulk, as you said, in hand. I saw a gold card there as
Yeah,
well.
He just drew.
Oh, no, it's an Ether
Hub.
Hub. Ether
yeah.
Hub, yep, sure. And
Okay.
now we're going to see another Anticipate, another 2 energy.
But he might just die here if he doesn't find one of the 3 disallows that he has in his deck.
Disallow, man. I tell you what, when I saw that card preview, oh, mate, it's the best cancel we've had since what?
Since cancel?
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
No, I mean,
It's the best cancel we've had definitely since what?
I mean, Void Shadow was played a little bit, and there was the Scry one and Theros.
Dissolve, probably since
yeah.
Dissolve. Yeah, Dissolve's probably
Dissolve
better.
was pretty sweet.
Yeah, Dissolve's very sweet, actually.
I used to play that card in PT
Yeah.
to a good result as well.
Oh, well done.
Surprisingly.
Surprisingly? No,
If
Dissolve,
you've ever seen me play,
Dissolve's super sweet. Dissolve is
I
super
think he
sweet,
found a
but
disallow. I
Disallow's
think he
great.
found it.
I think
It's
he's found
tough.
it. Yeah, there it is there. Okay.
I think he also found a negate, so he could really choose.
He
But
can
he
pick
goes for the disallow.
Pick
It's
his
safe.
poison here. Oh, mate, look, it's just effective use of mana. It's efficient mana efficiency.
Yeah, look at that. And now he's like wondering, okay, so because the countering the ballista is better in a way because it's also a blocker, right? It can block one of the refiners on the following turn and give Juan Carlos the one additional turn. And that's why he wants to disallow the walking ballista. And now this will very likely mean that Juan Carlos will not be able to do anything about it.
No, and the reason for not taking the negate to protect against the burn spell there is, again, this is a defensive play. You know, you're protecting yourself from walking ballista, which is effectively a burn spell. So it is a defensive play, but it also has very real offensive implications, as you said, Matej, because it removes a blocker. So he's defending his life total, and he's also making sure the path is clear for him to shore up this game. So I'm a big fan of this. I think it's a great play.
Too. I think it's better than waiting on the unlicensed disintegration for sure. Juan Carlos Adebo Diaz also has the Shambling Vent, which is relevant for next turn. But I think if Carlos Morale just animates his Lumbering Fall, swings with the team, no matter what Juan Carlos does, he's going to be toast.
Well, the Shambling Vents dies straight away to the tower. I think Morale here is in a very commanding position. He's tapped out. Diaz obviously considering whether he's going to fire off this unlicensed disintegration. But anyway you slice it, I mean, really, I bet Diaz has got his back against the wall. I'm not saying, I mean, it's not over till the fat lady sings, so we'll see how things go. I'll see how things shake out.
Yeah. One thing that is to be noted, though, both players should be playing faster because playing at this pace can likely mean that this will end up in a draw.
The dreaded
and it's not a good
0-1.
Yeah, when you're 7-0, you really don't want to. You really don't want that to happen.
I mean, this is a complicated situation here, and both players are wanting to play tight. But I agree with your assessment there, Matej. A good observation and well made. All right, so Diaz decides to do the Stone Cold Nothing, which gives Morale an opportunity to untap. Your comment previously, Matej, was that if Morale untaps, he probably wins. Let's see if this prophecy is true.
He doesn't even need to attack. He doesn't even need to animate Lumbering Falls because he's a Torrential Gearhulk, so he can Gearhulk disallow anything that Adebo Diaz throws at him. He has the tower as well to deal with the Shambling Vent if he so desires. But I think it's he's going to attack with Lumbering Falls first, I think.
All right, so here is the 4 mana put aside to activate the 3/3 hexproof creature land there. Yeah,
remember Juan Carlos can either animate Shambling Vent and block or use the unlicensed disintegration.
Nope, boom. No activation. So in they come, slicing and dicing their way across the battlefield. And Adebo Diaz points an unlicensed disintegration. That meets a Gearhulk straight away, and there is the concession from Adebo Diaz. He recognizes the writing is on the wall. Congratulations there to Carlos Morale. A tidy victory for him, Matej. And I want to come back to that, the observation we made about halfway through the game where Carlos Morale, under a ton of pressure, stabilizes, steadies the ship, and we said the challenge he had in front of him was to turn the corner and start dictating the terms of the game. He did exactly this.
Yeah, and the key point in that game was the turn where he played Dynavolt Tower and a Rogue Refiner. Suddenly, he could have dealt with 2 threats at the same time, in a way. And also, he got a little lucky that his opponent did not play an untapped 5th land, but rather Tad, because that delayed Avacyn really... he couldn't even play it until the end of the game, so that showed how important getting to the 5th mana is, as we talked about before.
Looks like fortune favoured the Maru deck in this particular matchup between Andrea Mengucci and Alejandro Pelliero here, with Mengucci picking up a win in game number 1. Both of these players here have sideboarded. They're in game number 2, and the Teemo Tower deck not able to get there in the first game.
This one looking decent. Double tower.
Yeah, well and truly. I mean, look at that. They've got a million.
12
looks like,
energy.
Yeah, well, and even more. I can see that. Just the
Incendiary Flow too.
Hint of a D6 on that there.
But he's on 1. He has a. I mean,
let's not forget that. Actually, that is a highly salient point.
Okay, look at that. Radiant. Is that Radiant Flames?
Looks like a Radiant Flames for 3 here.
I didn't even know there was a promo Radiant Flames.
I think it was from Game Day.
Oh, sweet. I should go to Game Day more.
There is the Archangel Avacyn taken care of with the... Was that an Incendiary Flow that took care of it there?
No, just a tower shot.
Just a tower, that's right. Okay.
And it's very, very important for Alejandro to actually leave up the other tower because of the Shambling Vent that's been now used to cast Liliana. And there's a, Liliana, Walking Ballista.
That's enough. There we go.
That's a card.
Yeah, Liliana and...
I meant Ballista.
Well, Liliana certainly is a card. I mean, if we're going to speak in a technically correct sense. But no, the Walking Ballista there certainly getting it done. And after copping some pretty hefty shade throughout the week. Walking Ballista labelled by Polo Vida Dama de Rosa as not the card you're wanting to be playing. I mean, it seems like, it's really been impressive this weekend so far.
And the one card that has impressed me the most in this deck, because we've seen it twice in the hands of Andrea Mengucci, are those Lilianas.
Yeah.
Right? Like rebuying the Ballistas and other creatures while also making your opponent's creatures smaller when you're trying to attack. It's very nice. Also, it crews Heart of Kiran, has a lot of...
Yeah. It's got unexpected utility. You look at it, and on the face of the card, there aren't a huge amount of X1s running around. You know, there are a few veteran motorists, there are a few Thopter tokens, whatever else. So immediately you're sort of going, oh, we're not getting a huge amount of value. But just things like shrinking down a Servant of the Conduit, returning your Walking Ballistas, getting stuff into the bin to feed your Scrap Heap Scroungers, and then against the non-existent control deck, also having a really, really quick and reliable way to close out the game nice and quickly. This card's really impressive.
Yeah,
are you going to run it in the main?
I could imagine, but I don't think it's versatile enough.
Just coming out of the board.
Very likely, because I would imagine it's not that great against the copycat decks. It's a little slow. But it also, as we talked about before, it's more about like what angle are you creating? Like what is your plan of attack against these sorts of decks? And that's really what dictates the cards you're running and how you set up your deck. For example, one of the interesting things that I've seen in the Mario development side of things that you're either running a white-black mana base, it's kind of like splashing red, or you're running like the white-red version splashing black. And both of those set up really differently, because the white-red ones I've seen, they've been playing Inventor's Apprentices and playing Shocks sometimes, while the white-black version was a little bit different, where the only red cards really was the Unless and Disintegration, and they focused on a lot having the Plains and the Swamps. And I think this is what Andrea Mengucci's running, because the double black early on those Lilianas is pretty hard if you run like, it would be almost impossible in the white-red versions.
I think there's probably a point worth noting is the fact that, if you're going to decide to include Liliana in this game plan, it's not as simple as just going, sweet, I'll stick her in the sideboard, whatever else we do player. As we look through Mengucci's deck list, he is playing 4 Swamps, he's playing 2 Plains, and the Lilianas are actually in the main deck.
Wow, impressive. I like it. And he also running the 2 Archangel Avacyn that we talked about as being really, really impressive. And quite like the way he set up his deck is very nice.
It's going a little bit bigger than I would have expected out of this Mardu. We talk about Mardu vehicles, Mardu Ballista, whatever you want to call it. This one, it's going much bigger, especially in the sideboard when we're looking at cards like, Ob Nixilis and Sorin Grim Nemesis. So Andrea Mengucci has really come packing some heat, ready for some late game. Yeah,
and he also has 2 Fumigates in the sideboard. Like, he can really, really go big. If he really so desires. I quite like his deck. I'm not surprised he's at 7-1 now. Yep, and we got the deck list of these particular players. So I'm looking at Carlos Morales' sideboard, and I wonder what he's going to bring in, because he does have Natural Obsolescence, Dispel, Confiscation Coup. I'm not sure if we're going to see those. I think he's going to bring in at least the Roller Virtuoso and another Negate.
Well, let's have a look at what's going on in Juan Carlos Diaz's sideboard here. He's got an extra land in Needle Spires, 3 copies of Release the Gremlins. We've already seen that card be hugely impactful. Shock, Anguished Unmaking, Oath of Liliana is for some removal options here. A Chandra, Torch of Defiance, Archangel Avacyn, and Ob Nixilis, and then a Nahiri rounding out the 15 there. Cool. So a pretty diverse suite here from Diaz.
Yeah, definitely lots of different things going on, but again, it depends so much on what he wants to be doing in this matchup.
Well, it looks like at least 1 copy of Release the Gremlins has been brought in. Is Diaz already on 6? These players must have both mulliganed, it looks like. And Morale is, checking out his top card.
It looks like he has Green Source and Attune with Ether already looks decent. And I think Carlos Morales cried before Juan Carlos did, so I think that's what they were saying. So
they're figuring that out.
Yeah, because it's Juan Carlos has to be the first one.
Did you even look at that card? I feel like you just put it straight on the bottom. Yeah. I don't want it. I know it. I don't even want it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Morale on top and Diaz on the bottom. Shambling Vent opening the account for the player on the left-hand side of your screen. Morale with a Spire Bluff Canal.
Yeah, I thought it was a Attune and a Forest. He does have the Forest, but I think it was not an Attune. It was a Natural Obsolescence.
Oh, I see. Okay, Incendiary Flow the draw here for Morale now. Diaz without a play on turn 2. He's going to want to get on the board. Toolcraft Exemplar, a handy draw for him.
Yeah, a little late. Yeah, his hand's very slow.
But it looks like Morales is in a similar position. I can see an attune with Ether in his hand. And Spire of Industry joining the party here for Adeba Diaz. Speaking of joining the party, ladies and gentlemen, there's someone I'd like to thank for joining the party. And ladies and gentlemen, that is you. That's right, you at home, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are around the world, certainly a great pleasure to have your company as we round out the closing rounds of the first day here at GP Barcelona. Of course, just want to let you know that we'll be back, of course, tomorrow with day number 2. But between that, Matej, GP New Jersey's going on.
Yeah, exciting. They're already in like round 3, I believe. So the tournament's firmly running. But that just means you're going to get to see more great Magic, because once the round 9 ends and we go to our hotels to rest for tomorrow, the stream is going to seamlessly go into New Jersey.
We'll kick it straight off across the Atlantic, and you can enjoy the...
Apparently, it's not going to be as seamless as I would make you think. It's apparently going to be quite a big of a seam.
Oh, yes, our producer Rashad Miller informing us that there will be a seam. It will be not so seamless, it'll be seam full. But all the same, you'll be brought all the action from the other side of the ditch before very much longer, my friends. But look, we do appreciate you sticking with us throughout this broadcast. It's great to have your company, as I say, from around the world, wherever you are. Now, Carlos Morales, he's on the board with the Shielded Ether Thief. Yeah,
that's card you said that does everything. I have my doubts about if Shielded Ether Thief can do anything, but it's pretty good at blocking 1/1s and generating energy. So
I've got a real thing for 0-4s.
Yeah, the 2 mana 0-4s.
2 mana 0-4s. I've got a real thing for them.
Wall of Omens is your most played modern card.
Oh, mate. Wall of Omen, Wall of Blossoms. I'm all about it. I'm all about it. You know what? A 3 mana 0-4 as well. Lobber Crew. A really huge fan of Lobber Crew.
Sure.
Here's the Shielded Ether Thief. Look at this. It draws cards. It blocks. It gains energy. Draws cards. What can't it do? That's my question. What can't it do?
Yeah, I like that card. Look at it. And in this board, Juan Carlos just playing lands, doing nothing. I think he has Archangel Avacyn. Carlos Morales just sitting there is like, oh, sure, I can do this all day.
And this is the thing. You know, when you're drafting Cube, you know that someone is going to be taking Goblin Guides and all the red cards, right? And you build your deck around it, right? Sure. You know that that's going to happen. Teemo Tower, if there is no Fun Police, this deck is insane. This deck has such a strong and powerful late game between the towers, the Gear Hulks, whatever else, that you need to put on early pressure. And Adeba Diaz, you know, due to the mulligan, due to the draw, whatever else, he hasn't done that here.
Yeah. I think there's something that happened here where Carlos Morales played a Rogue Refiner and immediately drew the card where I think Juan Carlos wanted to respond to the card draw, not the casting of the Rogue Refiner. He's kind of like saying, you never gave me an opportunity to respond to that.
And not the first time we've seen it here. These players obviously needing to communicate clearly to make sure both of them understand the position they're in, because we saw Juan Carlos Adeba Diaz slow down his opponent before, and Carlos Morales, he does need to respect that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then now there's a judge and they're explaining the situation, because Carlos Morales obviously already drew the card. He saw it in his hand. He already gained the energy and so on. I think also Juan Carlos is also, he should have been more like, okay, Rogue Refiner, hold on. Yeah. And then like, okay, trigger, now I'm playing my card.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Adeba Diaz has in his hand that he'd like to play, but that is actually irrelevant. The fact of the matter is that, you know, this is a trigger that he may have. He does have the right to respond to. Yeah, and like you guys in the chat might be saying, "Oh, why is he doing this? Oh man, it's so weird." Actually, he wants to play the Avacyn before Carlos Morales plays a land to have Harness Lightning up. Yeah. Because by playing the Rogue Refiner, he gets the extra energy. Then he needs to take it on a 4/4 with Harness Lightning. Even though Carlos Morales, of course, might not even have Harness Lightning in his hand, but Juan Carlos wants to land a 4/4 indestructible creature before Carlos Morales gets to do anything about that. Because after he's drawn the land, or after he's drawn the card, if he plays another land, obviously there's no other opportunity to respond. And so this is important. But I mean, even, you know, the dearth of one mana counter spells that are in this position here may, you know, probably not informing Adeba Diaz's decisions here, but all the same, it is an important point and something that is worth noting in these situations. Yeah, and I think, I mean, as sort of as cheesy as this sounds, clear communication between players will, you know, ultimately, I mean, it just makes the world a better place, Matej, let's be honest. Sometimes it's hard, of course, like, you know, you get to meet people from all over the world, some of them whom might not speak good English, but, you know, you find a common... Magic is a common language. Magic's the common language. That's exactly what I was going to say. You beat me to it. Magic's the common language, mate. That's it. It's all one big family here.
Yeah,
One big family, brothers and sisters.
I really enjoyed my time playing tournaments in Japan. You know, where like my opponent really didn't speak any English, but we both agreed on atako hai, and we both knew what that meant.
That's all you need. Oh dear, there you go. Yes, I certainly have to say, after moving to Berlin, my German vocabulary improved in some very weird ways. All of a sudden, I knew the word for sacrifice. I knew the word for attack. All these other words that you may not learn at your Duolingo language course or whatever. All of a sudden, I knew about that. Here is Archangel Avacyn.
Yeah. So Juan Carlos actually didn't get to do what he wanted to, but it turned out fine because it seems like Carlos Moral does not have a Harness Lightning. Look at that needle spire. More lands for Juan Carlos. That's not where you want to be unless you're casting some big haymaker creatures. Like
needle
those
spires as well. I think that needle spire as well. There's one in the main, one in the board. Are you bringing in an extra land here?
Yeah, you when you're bringing in like Nahiris and Obnixilas and Avacyns and Chandras, maybe even release the Gremlins, you want the extra land, especially because you need the extra red source rather than, the amount might already be fine with the main deck, but you need more red sources.
Dynavolt Tower now to play here for Carlos Moral. He'll be happy to have one of them on the battlefield.
Yep.
And now you can see, presenting to the opponent. Is this okay, my man? Very good. What's the follow-up play here for Moral? 6 cards in hand, or is it 5?
Well, it's still plenty. I think it's 5. I think I saw Radiant Flames, Incendiary Flow.
Definitely.
But that Avacyn is going to be a problem for Carlos Moral.
If you hear a guilty crinkling in the background, ladies and gentlemen, as I can hear in my feedback, we know nothing about it. I'm being told by Rashad Miller. Shh. He says he'll mute me if I rat him out, so I'm not going to say anything further. Shielded Ether Thief hits the bin here as the crinkling continues. Alberto Diaz now. 3 mana for him. What's he got?
Does he have up his sleeve? I think it's a Nahiri. I'm going to see a Nahiri here. Remember, it says it can exile a tapped artifact. Any enchantment, but the artifact needs to be tapped, just like a creature, if he wants to exile something. But there's not going to be a Dynavolt Tower tapped in our future. Look at that.
Shambling Van getting on the front foot.
Jeez, just Juan Carlos decided, like, okay, I need to be aggressive here.
Well, once again, the deck that with the inevitability is, I would argue, the one on the right. I think that's a fair point to make. And, the Mardu deck we've seen, Andrea Mangucci's deck list, he can augment it to go longer, to go bigger, to go harder. But at the end of the day, you're playing against Tim Mattel. You want the game over.
Yeah, look at
you want the game over.
Carlos Moral has to check the other side of Archangel Avacyn. If Carlos Moral does trade off with the Shambling Van here, that's going to mean the Avacyn's going to flip into a 6/5 and a lot of damage. But
Moral seems to be priced into blocking here. So these two are going to trade. Roberto Diaz gains 2. Moral takes 4.
Oh, we're going to see a flipped Avacyn? I think we do, but I think Carlos Moral will find a way to get rid of it when combining 2 instants and sorceries.
So we're in the upkeep. There is the trigger, of course, for the Avacyn.
And Moral shouldn't be saying this. It's
his opponent's responsibility to remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he wanted that Toolcraft Exemplar out of the way. Maybe that's the real threat here.
Maybe. Also takes 3 damage here. Ooh, Glimmer. That's nice. If he now stabilizes the board a little bit, and it would be nice if, I think he has Radiant Flames. Oh, does he have another Dynavolt Tower too? Ooh, that's pretty neat. He has to be careful though, because there's the Needle Spires in play as well, so that would be a lot of damage.
So here's Dynavolt Tower number 2. This means that a single Glimmer gains, how much is it? 6 energy. And this Incendiary Flow also gains 4.
Yeah, and then, so now that means that he's going to flow the Avacyn, then he's going to shoot it down with Dynavolt Tower. And I think Carlos Moral will now take a heap of damage from the dead Needle Spires, though. Or maybe Juan will be priced into playing that Gideon. It's another big threat too. Or look at that, he has released the Gremlins from the start of the game. Never had a good opportunity to play it.
Oh jeez, I didn't even see that.
Now he can nab both towers.
Oh, that's disgusting. Here we go. So as you said, the Viridian Shaman with multi-kicker here. Down comes, look at this. And this release of Gremlin's going to be disgusting here. Moral thinks he's done it, but look at that. Away they go, and Moral not left with any other option to just read them and weep as these two gremlins come down. What a turnaround here for Alberto Diaz. This is a great example of the point where the Timo Tower deck did not turn the corner.
Yeah, exactly, because now after sideboard, these decks have answers to Dynamo Towers. And also, on the other hand, Carlos Morales does have a Radiant Flames of his own. Doesn't have that much else to keep up. There's a Glimmer, there's Natural Obsolescence, but those are not great.
Radiant Flames getting rid of those gremlins. Morale unable to deploy the Glimmer this turn thanks to that tapped Spire Bluff Canal there. And you're not complaining about that though. These fast lands, enemy fast lands, very welcome to the Magic family, of course, throughout Modern, but even in Standard. I mean, we're all very happy to have them.
Yeah, what we're going to see now is going to be, Thalia and a Gideon.
Thalia and now Gideon, so deploying
Last
two threats
card.
here.
Great turn for great 2 turns for Juan.
Yeah,
here.
this is really blowing up my skirt here. I'm enjoying this as we see Gideon come down and make a Knight ally, and that's going to make things very difficult for Carlos Morale here.
Yeah, Carlos would need something like you see what a card, right?
What a card! Exactly what you need in this spot.
Okay, Harness Lightning's all right.
It's a start.
Yeah, but I think he's going to go for a Glimmer. Yeah, it's going to enter battlefield tap.
Yeah. That is not a trigger. It cannot be missed.
Oh, look at that. Like, Carlos Morale is, like, almost dead. I think he actually might be. If Juan animates that Needle Spires, I think it's just over. And of course, the Gideon.
Yeah, there's the Gideon. So there are up to 4 attackers here available for Alberto Diaz. He is going to... Yeah, I think it looks like we're going to activate this Gideon here.
We're going to see a game 3 here, very likely, if Juan goes for it with the Needle Spires, because Carlos Morale can only kill 1 creature, so either the Needle Spires or the Thalia.
Oscillating at the curb like Mary Sutherland here. Is he going to pull the trigger? Carlos Morale already looking at his sideboard. No, he's not. He's getting a token out. Okay, never mind. Getting a...
sleeve,
busted. Oh, he's busted the sleeve. He's had a blowout. He's had a blowout, Matei.
Ooh.
No good. Get the sleeve ambulance out because that one is going downtown. Away goes that beautiful mountain there.
All right. You can do it, Juan.
You can do it, buddy.
Yeah.
No, he can't. Oh, no.
Oh.
He's got cold feet.
Does he?
What are we going to see here? What's he playing around? What are the cards that are on his mind here? Harness Lightning?
Double Harness Lightning or Harness Lightning and Shock.
Ether Meltdown?
Maybe, potentially. Shielded Ether Thief?
Of course.
Of course.
Got to live in fear of the thief. He'll come. He'll get you, mate. He'll nick your wallet. He'll nick your wallet, go down to the pub.
Yeah. I'm really surprised the judges are not saying anything in a feature match area. Juan Carlos has been playing really slow. Look at that. He hasn't animated his Gideon.
Didn't do anything with the Gideon here.
So it's not lethal.
So an attack now. The Needle Spire's 4. The Thalia for 3, making it 7.
It is lethal.
Well, it's lethal, but with a Harness Lightning in hand.
Right. So kill the Thalia. Yep. Generate some extra energy.
Yep. And Gideon now putting into play another Knight ally here. And a Toolcraft Exemplar emptying Alberto Diaz's hand. He is hellbent. Morale is anything but. He needs to find a way out of this. A Tangled Web for Morale to extricate himself from.
Ooh, it looks like he found something good. He's tapping mana immediately. So I think Glimmer.
Glimmer of
okay,
genius.
so it's like I'm desperate.
Yep.
And he look how fast Carlos Morale is playing, because he knows like he's going to need time to win game 3. And look at that. He
doesn't want to muck around.
He doesn't want Juan to muck around.
No,
that's the thing.
That's probably the more pertinent way of saying it. So well done, Juan Carlos Alberto Diaz. He has snagged himself game number 2. So these guys are going to hit the sideboards for a final time and go to the game 3 decider here.
Exciting.
Yeah, look, the way that this has panned out, I'm really pleased we got a bit of an insight into this matchup, because I think, once again, I'm going to sort of labour this point here a little bit, Matei. It came down to that point where we moved into the late game, and in game number 1, Timo Tower was able to overtake it. In game number 2, they were not. The Timo Tower deck was not able to turn the corner, not able to press the advantage, and went up in flames as a result.
We've got a
lot of interesting stuff going on the battlefield right here. Looks like your bog standard 4-color copycat deck on the left-hand side of your screen. So Healy Ray up to her old tricks. But Giulio Baldrini seems to be here with a pretty spicy brew, Matei.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Lucas was going through his deck through the 20 cards that were milled by Ulamog. So his library is considerably smaller here. At least there's a Tamiyo. Can tap down Ulamog for a turn and a Spell Queller.
So Tamiyo indeed going to tap down exactly just what the doctor ordered here.
And maybe Feldar Guardian to blink the Tamiyo. He should.
He should. He should. I mean, don't want to labor the point, but
I know like Lucas Blahan is to me one of the best players on the planet right now.
Yeah.
He's just been playing so solid, and I love watching him play. And I think he sees the line.
He does see the line, yeah.
He probably saw the line like 5 turns ago.
Yeah,
knowing
he's going to
him.
blink this one. He's going to tap down some more creatures.
He's going to plus now.
Yeah. I know he goes upstairs, does he?
Yeah,
straight upstairs, you mean? You're much smarter than me.
Yeah, Feldar Guardian and the Spell Queller as well, because now that means that Julio will probably not attack with them. And made.
And Baldrini straight away goes to untap, and Lucas Blind says, my friend, I'll stop you there. I'll stop you there. Back it up just a little bit.
Maybe he's doing like a right application. Oh, mate, please. These stay tapped.
Just tap those ones. Just tap them down, my friend. Baldrini's battlefield, a bit of a mess here. I do apologize for this.
Yeah, this carnage.
It was absolutely
carnage of battlefield.
All over the place. It's unbelievable here, generating a bit of energy here thanks to that marvel there.
Yeah, it's legendary. Okay. Oh, Rogue Refiner. All right.
Okay. Here we go. All right.
No, I mean, like Lucas actually has some rebuys here. He can also plus the Tamiyo on the Feldar Guardian to draw another card and whatnot. So, okay, no, just land. He wants a removal spell for the Spell Queller. Or he's just going to keep those tapped for an extra turn.
Tap him down.
He's holding on. If he just kills the Spell Queller, he is lethal, right? Because he has Saheeli Rai and Feldar Guardian at the same time. But he just found land. So now Lucas is thinking, do I plus or do I minus?
What's in my deck? Let's have a look at this. How
many shots do I have?
Yeah, he's having there you go. You could see he's very obviously looking for the combo pieces. He needs that Saheeli. And we saw at least one in exile. Any in the bin there, Matei? No, can't see one there. So we're 3 copies remaining. Tap them down.
Tap those down, yeah. And swing.
Getcha. Draw a card.
No, too late.
Too late, of course.
That effect already ended,
yeah,
unfortunately.
So this Spell Queller is going to untap in addition to that Tireless Tracker there.
There's another Spell Queller in Julio Baldrini's hand, so I think that should mean that he can carry the game to a successful end. But he also has another Ulamog. Now I'm wondering, can he play it? No, I think he's one short of playing it. Okay.
What do we got?
Is he going to Spell Queller the Oath?
Oath of Nissa here.
Yeah,
3 cards.
Ooh, okay.
And it's Tireless Tracker. That's going to
another rebuy.
Yeah. Down it comes. 1, 2, 3 mana for that. Land in hand for Blowhon means that he's going to be able to snag another card.
Now remember, he can also plus Tamiyo to draw some more cards.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to get a clue. And he's just saying like he's going to sack it immediately. Yep. He's just digging for a Saheeli Rai. He doesn't know that Julio has another spell card. Oof, just a servant of the conduit. This is tense.
This is really tense, I'll tell you what.
Okay, plus on my 2 creatures. Swing.
Draw 2.
Draw 2.
1, 7, 2. Whirl of Virtuoso, not a bad one. That's going to generate some blockers.
Ulumog's going to attack, right?
Oh, right, it's going to just exile.
At least if he found another Feldar Guardian to blink his Tamiyo and tap down something else. Yeah, he has like so much energy, but okay, there's a Spell Queller for. This is super risky. Like Lucas could have used that as a bait, and now if he had played the Saheeli, he would have won. But no,
as it is, Blowhorn goes down. He's down to 6 and 2. Julio Baldrino, though, wow, I really want to see more of this deck.
Yeah, and look how happy he was about I beat Lucas Blowhorn.
Beat Lucas Blowhorn, number 8 in the world. Absolutely. Well, there you go. Impressive stuff from Baldrini. Let's head back to our original match, of course, between these two players, Juan Carlos Alberto Diaz and Carlos Morale here.
We just got schooled by Eric Froelich in the chat.
Oh, tell us.
Because what's the use of a Saheeli draw after attacking already?
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was actually
thinking.
Thanks,
Eric.
Definitely should have said that. I've certainly got egg on my face.
Yeah, you made us look like idiots.
The problem, well,
Especially me, because I should be the expert on this.
Well, especially me, because I should have been the one to say it. The point is that, like, my brain's a good second and a half behind my mouth. I think that's my secret.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I can attest to that.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. And that's not just when I'm in the booth, Matej, as you know, my friend.
Yeah, but he could have still gone for, like, digging for a Feldar Guardian to blink the Tamio, to tap down the Ulamog for an extra turn and so on. So there were still some legitimate draws there. But Ifro is completely right. Look at this. Carlos Morale again on the back foot, but his land development seems decent enough this game. But now, okay, Gideon. Boom.
Here we go. I'm a bit concerned about the fact that sleeve is just filthy. I'm really worried about that. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that Abito Diaz doesn't do that thing where you use one card to scrape the dirt off of another sleeve like that.
Oh, so you that because there's people who just do it with their fingernails.
Fingernails also. That's a bit gross.
Pretty gross.
That's pretty gross.
Yeah.
I don't know where that muck and grime comes from in the cards. I don't know what it is.
It's just a combination of sweat and...
Sweat. I don't know what your sweat looks like, mate, but it doesn't come out in little black blobs for me. Here comes the Lumbering Falls with Gideon. You're going to see a double block now. This is really... I'm sorry, it's really tilting me. I know my job is to actually talk into this microphone, but I can't draw my eyes away from this Gideon. Away they go. Harness Lightning's going to have something to say about it. Keep the Lumbering Falls around.
Yeah, I like it.
Carlos
Morale's getting aggressive.
Yeah, he's playing very quickly. He realizes he wants to close out this game. He wants to preserve this record. These guys are 7-0, Matej.
Yeah, I know. All right, and Carlos Morale just playing out his last card, and he's just getting as much as energy as possible. But he has Lumbering Falls and just no cards in hand, and he's facing off against the Gideon, and Juan Carlos still has like decent cards in his hand. Look at that. I think I saw Unlicensed Disintegration and
times two
and a Tollcraft Exemplar.
Yeah.
No artifacts just yet.
But just the sheer fact of having Terminates for days is going to be very useful for Abito Diaz.
Yeah, I would love to see how Juan Carlos is actually sideboarding, because he always seems to have like Unlicensed Disintegrations and Toolcraft Exemplars and no artifacts. Right? Even like the previous game.
Yeah, that's right. We didn't see a lot of them.
All right.
Another land here with a Botanical Sanctum to draw for Morale, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah,
and it's back to Abito Diaz. Yeah. This is not looking good here for Morale. He needs to start hitting some pepperoni off the top of his deck. As Diaz pulls further and further ahead. Upstairs with Gideon. And it's off to the races now. Get you for 8 by the look of things. No, just attacking with Gideon. Why is that happening?
Oh, interesting. It's a lot of damage.
I guess the Lumbering Falls is there.
I think he's also scared of Torrential Gearhulk.
I see. I mean, Lumbering Falls can eat one of those creatures, but I think you just want to pile on the damage at this stage.
Yeah, Shield, Ether Thief.
Oh, mate, here we go. Here we go. Start drawing cards.
Well, it's still some ways off, and it looks like Juan Carlos is making space here on the board.
Yeah, looks like another Night Ally is going to come in. Oh, no. Okay. Let's have a think about it. No, you have to add a loyalty counter before you start doing that, my friend.
You remember what you said about your mouth being 1.5 seconds faster? You know.
I'm all over the shop.
That's all right.
I've got a really useless version of like clairvoyance. Gideon comes in. Slamming across the field. Yeah. Morale. Again.
Look at that. What is going on here?
Just having untapping.
It's like plus attack. No, wait.
I've never seen so many Control Zs in my life here.
Yeah, just undo.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And now it's the Shielded Ether Thief here.
Yeah, Juan has not gotten many fans in this game.
And it looks like that one's going to bite the dust before it gets a chance to block here.
All right.
Unlicensed Disintegration, very aggressively deployed then, I'd say.
Yeah, just like, get it out of here.
Get it out of here.
I'm not here to make friends.
Denied. Oh, turn one. There we go.
Okay. And Carlos Fana. Okay, Rogue Refiner.
Rogue Refiner.
On.
Here we go. That's going to carry us home. A blocker, and it's going to draw Botanical Sanctum. Wow, look at this.
But he can hold on. Right, he still has the Lumbering Falls.
Lumbering Falls as well, hiding out there. So Morale figuring out how he's going to survive these next turns as we head to turn number 2. Abito Diaz, however, he's looking to find some buckets. He wants to get it into the into the 7 or the 8-0 bracket now here.
Yeah.
Close out.
This is serious business.
Absolutely. I mean, this, your standings on day 2 so critical to ensure the best run possible to. Can't string a sentence together. It's just all. Oh, okay. It's going to be the Harakiri.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And now he's going to animate the Shambling Man. Is he going to find the attack with all creatures button? Because it seems like he's been missing it so far.
Yeah. Just right click, mate. Just right click.
I think he's got it.
F6 to your combat step.
I mean, he still he can be scared of the torrential Gearhulk still, but look at the life tools. Like Carlos Morales
he's
3.
He's on 3.
He can still. Carlos Morales can probably, if he had torrential Gearhulk, he could still play it, kill the Exemplar, or trade with the Exemplar.
That's really annoying.
Harness Lightning, kill one of those guys, and so on. It's still legitimately, he has something to think about, but I think his execution has been a little sloppy.
What's really bothering me here is the D12 put on 1 instead of on 7. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. But in any case, no matter how you slice it, Alberto Diaz gets up and amongst it. A handy victory for him. We saw him jittering and going all over the shop there, but he did manage to get up against the Timo Tau deck. Unfortunately, Carlos Morales, after a strong showing in a previous game, unable to see off the Mardu Menace. What a round it's been, Matej.
Yeah.
Absolute blast to sit here with you, my friends. But the bad news, I'm out of here. That is it. I'm off to the card viewer. But Rafael Levy will be stepping in more than equal, I would say. You're going to have a great time there. So, my friends, stick around. Stay with us. Day number 1 will come to its conclusion here with our final round, round number 9, in the hands of Matej Zadokai and Rafael Levy. My name's Riley. I'm out of here for the evening. I'll see you back here tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. But stick around, as I say. Matej and Raf will be with you in round number 9 here at GP Barcelona. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you back here very soon.